Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today is move-in day. Today we're going to make all the duplicants some beautiful, sweet bedroom suites. Yeah. We're talking big comfy beds, artwork, decor, bathrooms, all the fixins. But first, we have some messes to pick up. Just as I expected, some dupe took some igneous rock here, brought it over here, and then dropped it into our beautiful petroleum pile, which then caused the petroleum to turn quickly into sour gas. So we're getting rid of some of the sour gas. Luckily, it was so little petroleum that it only made so much sour gas, and so it's not holding a ton of heat until you get way over here. Once this gas pump finishes vacuuming everything out, we're almost there. We'll end up putting the conveyor loader here, and we'll put it on collecting everything and then sweep only. So whenever we see new material, we'll just sweep it and they'll bring it to the closest receptacle. And that way we have no chance of dropping hot igneous rock inside the petroleum again. Another project we're working on is radbolt collection in space. And it's been a little trickier than I would have expected. We could have just loaded up more radbolt generators, but I was trying to do something, smart. I had these dipped in petroleum for a little while, and that way the petroleum would help take the heat off the radbolt generators, and it did for a good while too. The problem is the petroleum was actually limiting how much radbolts could collect. Right now we're getting 41 per cycle in this one little tile with just a few nymphs in here. This one's getting 34. But in the petroleum, it was coming up a lot weaker, like 5 or 6 radbolts per cycle. So now we're going to have to hook up the old thermo aqua tuner setup. This is going to be a little simple one, just very small, little bit of steam, and that way any sort of immediate cooling needs that we need in the space biome, we'll have right here. So sometimes working on these fellas, it doesn't matter how much water you pour in, it's not going to expand. And that's because there's gas stuck in it. So what you do is you build a tile, and then you deconstruct the tile, and then it'll destroy the gas, so when the tile is deconstructed, the water will fill in. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And there you go. Thanks, Scrapper. Now just clean this up, strap a steam turbine on it, and get to the business of collecting radiation, because these things are getting kind of hot. Our closest water supply is down here to the left, so we're just going to take some of it, run it right up here for our coolant loop, and that should be that. Scrapper looks like he's finished with the deconstruction, so now we can throw on our beautiful steam turbine. Copper is fine. Remember, your steam turbines can't get hotter than 100 and something degrees without overheating anyways. It doesn't matter if you make them out of steel or what. So you might as well make them something inexpensive that you think you can keep cool. And considering on our coolant loop, we have it running right past the steam turbine with a temperature shift plate in the middle. That steam turbine will stay nice and cool. I was a little bit worried because we're only 2 deep on the obsidian here, so we threw in a few more insulated tiles just in case. And you may start seeing a bunch of shine nymph eggs. Yep. We let the shine nymphs out of here because, well, we didn't want to kill them. And now they are taking up the entire space biome. They drop all their little eggs, and then we have to collect them to put in here. So it's not as bad, but we may have accidentally overcooked our shine nymph farm. The old radbolt generators here were up to 75 degrees, and so that temperature is kind of spilled through in here. Shine nymphs, their livable range is only 49.9. So we accidentally killed the stables. Now we're relying on the eggs from the top until we get them swept in to repopulate this stable. So we have the liquid pipe running through this, and you notice the radbolt generators still aren't cooling down. And it's because there's no transfer medium. I was hoping it would take some of the cooling from the metal tile, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen because there's no transfer medium on this tile itself. We are going to have to put a little drop of liquid, but I do know a liquid that's very good at transferring radiation. And luckily, we've been storing just a little bit of it, and that's our nuclear waste. Now, we're going to be very careful here. First, we need to deconstruct this tile and create the tile here. And just a little drip because we don't have a lot of nuclear waste. Eventually, we're going to get to a planetoid that has uranium, and then we're not going to have any of those problems. What are you deconstructing? Hopefully the nuclear waste makes it up here in time. the nuclear waste doesn't actually stay in the cans for very long. So it is kind of a pain in the butt. And it is a very long distance, so I'm really hoping they can make it. And they dropped it because it already melted out of the can. We almost made it this time, but then Hound got hungry. Come on, Hound! Mirage, you are the champion. Alright, that's all that we need there. Because we need to hurry up and build another tile. And that way we can actually collect a little bit of nuclear waste on this tile as well. And the nuclear waste in the can disappeared into the vacuum of space. Beautiful. Both radbolt generators are now cooling off mighty fine. We have nuclear waste on the tiles, so they don't prevent as much radiation from passing through. They're a better conductor of the radiation than the petroleum was. This will be good as soon as we get some more shine nymphs going. Now, for the matter at hand. This is our beautiful Dupe Suite perspective layout. I'm going to give it a cycle to 2 to see if I can think of anything a little bit better, but lots of great features. Every dupe has their own bathroom. Every dupe has a comfy bed, each with a plant biome. We got a couple of masterpiece paintings, gold of course, a couple of granite genius sculptures, all the drywall, and even carpet. I mean, that's not bad living for a dupe. And what's great? Look at that decor. Oh yes, every tile is maxed out completely. It is beautiful. The disadvantage, where we used to have all 16 dupes, will now only hold 2 dupes. In fact, 24 dupes just on this one side would bring them all the way down here. And of course, there's this still one stupid security door that I can't deconstruct. I have the mod to get rid of point of interest buildings that I know would do it, but right now the mod is out of date. Not a huge deal, but then we'd also have to move our beautiful glossy Drecos. So maybe we just move the apartment complex somewhere else? Our radbolt reflector system has been working out pretty well. The only bad thing is the nuclear waste has turned to a solid because these tiles are so cold. I'm hoping that when the radbolt engine takes off, it's going to spread enough heat to remelt the solid nuclear waste into a liquid. Because right now, these radbolt generators are up over 650 degrees. On the good news, though, the radiation is coming in. 234 on this one tile, and it goes to 175 on this generator, and 168 on this generator. Plenty enough to fill our radbolt engine. This one's almost full. As soon as it is, we're going to let Alita take off, and we'll see if it generates a little bit of heat here to remelt this solid nuclear waste. One of the issues with it was my fault. I had a radiant liquid pipe in this tile right here, and with this tile being at 1.9 degrees, it cooled this down. All right, our radbolt engine is finally full. We have 4,800 beautiful rads all loaded up, which according to the engine will give us 24 tile range, and this sort of matches up with what we have inside the rocket. We have about 36 cycles of pickled meal. I think we're ready to go. We'll go ahead and switch it over to crew, get Alita in here. Let's please not forget to undo the outhouse this time. The question is, where do we go first? I think first we need to see what the range is on the cartographic module, so maybe right here? Alita is boarded, and we are ready. Launch sequence in 3, 2, 1. Slow it down a little bit. I want to see that massive radius. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Now, on our radbolt generators, it does not look like we were able to actually cool these things off. The nuclear waste did not melt. I think we're going to have to go back to the drawing board on this. Unfortunately, to get liquid back down here, I have to remove this tile. If I remove this tile, all those shine bugs are going to leave, which really stinks because they're generating a lot of radiation. Excuse me? Look at the radiation left over by the rocket. This is beautiful. This might be our source. Well, the question is, how do we collect it? Now, Alita's job in here is kind of a life of ease. Just kind of hanging out on the rocket, occasionally redirecting its path. But with all this beautiful decor, plenty to eat, Alita's going to be doing great. When we go back out to the star map, you can see that it looks like our rocket speed is 1.5 tiles per cycle. So it's going to take about 4.5 cycles to get over to this tile, and then we'll get to see what the cartographic module is going to be capable of. On the apartment front, nay, on the condo front, yes, the Dupe condos, I think we can fit more if we go 3 wide. Now the disadvantage is it's going to take this much space, but afterwards, our dupes will be living the good life. It's going to take a lot of work though. I mean a lot of work. Step 1, we got to move these Dreco ranches. Step 2, we need to move our beautiful Great Hall. I think we can put the Dreco ranches down here. They're not quite big enough by themselves, but we don't actually need water anymore out of a pitcher pump. So we can probably just move this over, squeeze it over, and make enough room. Alright, that's been squeezed over a little bit, so we can finally break back into this. And this should give us plenty of room for a Dreco ranch and a glossy Dreco ranch. Alright, so the Venus 5 has made it to its destination, and I don't see any difference in the range, so it might have the same range as a regular telescope. So let's bring it out a few more. I think this is a good start. We're still going to need to get the hydrogen in there, but a couple of notable points. We didn't put the farm tiles on the bottom insulated row because we don't want to be exchanging heat with the outside of the colony. We will be exchanging heat just a smidge over by this airflow tile that is on the outside of the stables now, but that is just to get rid of the carbon dioxide. It, as usual, goes all the way down to the bottom of the colony. And this gas pump takes everything and just sends it all the way to space. The idea is that we want all the junk gas gone and only be left with oxygen. So one of 2 possibilities has happened. A, the cartographic module kind of stinks. Or B, I didn't hook it up correctly. I am not 100% sure. I'm going to do some more reading on it. See if the game can tell me anything. There was no connections that I saw before we took it off, but so it at least shows you the unexplored area, kind of like a fog of war, but it doesn't reveal what these planetoids or artifacts things are. So we're going to send old Venus 5 back home. And we've set something up here. I want this solid nuclear waste to melt. So when the rocket lands, it should melt this solid nuclear waste, and all that beautiful radiation that we saw, we might be able to absorb into the nuclear radiation, which means this radbolt generator would be able to absorb nicely. And then once we have the radiation in the nuclear waste, this radbolt generator will be going ham on it. The issue is I'm not sure if the radbolt generator can bounce through the rocket platform. I don't think it can. We're going to turn this off till I get 50, and then we'll try to shoot it through the rocket platform, see if it shoots off the space. Otherwise, we're going to have to put a weird little system of reflectors. This system here, it's decent. You can see, just in the time that rocket's been gone, we have over 1,000 in this generator and 1,000 in this one. The pain in the butt is keeping it cool. I was going to drop some petroleum on it, but at this point, I don't think it's going to be worth it. If this works out well, it'll take care of all our radiation needs for a long time. And how did we get the solid nuclear waste in there? Well, we built an automatic dispenser way up here. I better get rid of this before the rocket returns. So the rocket returned, and it absolutely turned it into liquid nuclear waste. And I was foolish enough not to have any sort of background here, so all of it went goodbye. Some drywall should help that. But now to the business of getting more. And we did learn that the radbolt generator will straight up shoot right through to the radbolt engine. And our old system still had plenty of radbolts to fill our radbolt engine, but now I need to get more nuclear waste over here. Let's drop some more in there, shall we? A further look at the cartographic module. I just don't think it's worth it. I checked for any sort of connections. We went to, you know, we got power. There's nothing on power. It doesn't require any oxygen or anything. So I think we're actually going to get rid of the cartographic module and then go in here and then somehow put a telescope. Oh, we might want to let Elita out. Not before you put on your wonderful suit. Go get your suit. Good job, Elita. So where are we going to put our wonderful telescope? I don't want to get rid of the comfy bed. Don't even think it. But what I think we can do... Okay, we had to lose the comfy bed. I'm not happy about it. We can't talk about it any further. But we did gain a genius sculpture, and we were able to keep our water cooler to make this room still a great hall. And the reason why is the telescope just took up a little bit too much space. The telescope itself is a 3x3 building. So, we will see how this works this time. Because there's an increased battery requirement with the addition of the telescope, we need to add a couple more solar panels. I think 4 ought to be enough. Alright, we have our glossy Drecos and our regular Drecos all set up in their new home. Meanwhile, we are relocating everything else that was here to make room for our beautiful condos. Starting with a new mess hall. Nothing big. Just threw down a bunch of arrow pots for now. They have the table salt. It's looking good. Look at that decor. Then we set up our new gym and moved some hatches around. It's going to get a little tighter in here, but the condos are going to be worth it. This here is us extending out the frame. Each condo level will have 3 condos in it, for a total of 24 luxurious apartment homes. Meanwhile, on the rocket front, we may have something figured out. In my previous tests, this is only 2 tiles wide, which means everything here ended up being a vacuum. And so it was too easy for the rocket to superheat the nuclear waste, and then all the nuclear waste would just eject off into space. With having it a little lower, we have the opportunity to collect some at the bottom, which is absolutely great. It keeps a lot of radiation for a long time. In fact, this is the last radbolt generator we put, and it's already got 2,800 radbolts. Speaking of our rocket, Elita is doing just fine in here. During her days, she hops on the telescope. And the good thing is it does not matter if the rocket is stationary or in flight. She still uses the telescope to see everything around her. So right now, I'm going to have to recommend everybody using a telescope inside their rocket and not the cartographic module that we were going to use. Unless somebody's got a tip that I don't know about, I just don't see much use in it. We did discover a new planetoid. That's always fun. Which you can see is just a small water submerged world. Lucky for us, we don't necessarily have to go there very soon because we have plenty of water. Alright, we've got the main part of the condo extended out, so I think we can go ahead and start. Now, unfortunately, we're going to need the space where the dupes are sleeping right now. So it looks like they're going to have some sore backs for a minute because, sorry guys, we need this space. Elite is still kicking butt, so I think we're going to just send this a little bit further away. We want to make sure, right now, we only have 17 range remaining. So we don't want to go too far away without... I have no idea what happens when your range runs out. I'm assuming that the rocket just gets stuck in space and Elita eventually starves to death. So we need to be careful where we send her. So we'll head back this way, and that way we're close enough to head home. Alright, I think it's time for one of those building montages. But first, let me set the stage. Alright, because of the drywall, this looks like a hot mess. I probably made 40 mistakes somewhere in there. Drywall is really making it hard to see all these beautiful condos. In fact, there's so much drywall in there, we ran out of sandstone. I don't think I've ever run out of sandstone on a map. Then we started using sedimentary rock. We then ran out of sedimentary rock, and then finally switched to granite. I'd like to have some more granite left over. But rest assured, I will go back as soon as we get more sandstone off another asteroid. That way, everybody's condo is the same. Now let's get our montage going. So that was a larger undertaking than I had expected, but it's there. Missing a few plants here and there, and some of the temperatures are still trying to regulate. The other problem is the way that we have the oxygen being sourced, coming from this top run here and then all the way down. The folks on the bottom level don't have as much oxygen quite yet. It'll all pressurize soon, but for now it's going to take a minute. On our space front, Elita did well. We got most of this side of the map explored. We still have a lot to go, though. The good news is our new radbolt collection system's working pretty decent. This generator right here has 3,800 radbolts. Now, granted, the condo construction took about 15 cycles, but most of that is coming from the exhaust of the engine itself. So now we just switch it on, and it'll slowly fill up. Now we need to finish the plumbing. So this is a little easier than you'd think it would be. Every level has its own input and output pipe. The output pipe goes right back through our original bathrooms. Once we get all those bathrooms full, we'll be able to delete these bathrooms. And the clean water is just going to be routed right through. To start with, though, because we're going to need so much more clean water, I figured we'd use our beautiful clean water tank here. Now, there is one pain in the butt aspect to this. Every single bathroom has to be assigned. So, for instance, this comfy bed is assigned to Hoist, which means this is Hoist's bathroom. This one to Grapple. So that means this bathroom goes over to Grapple. Now, some bathrooms will not even have anybody assigned yet, but we don't want everybody using each other's bathrooms. These are private condos. Alright, I think the bathrooms are done. Now all that's left to do is to deconstruct these and see if anybody pees themselves. And that's it. I think the condos are complete. Some other minor changes that we made in the background. Based on the ventilation, we moved the gas vents over by one side, and that way it would more evenly distribute the oxygen than if they were all in a line. If all the vents were in line, it would wait until this one was full, and then it would go down to this room here. So that obviously wouldn't work, so we moved all the vents over by one side. We got some odds and end plants that aren't quite in a great temperature yet. It is cooling down, though. But other than that, I think the Dupe condo is a success. I'd love to know what you think about it. I'd love to know if you have any improvements. Other than the fact that our master creator put too many pictures that are the same side by side. Really wish you could select those. That's old Mirage. There she is there. So what do all these Dupe condos give us? Well, check out the morale ratings. I've seen some go as high as 40, 43. Right now they're in the mid to high 30s. Still very good considering we have no recreation buildings minus a water cooler. That's going to be another thing that we're going to be looking forward to do in the future of this series, is seeing how high we can get this Dupe morale. And with that, I think the Dupe condos are complete. I had a lot of fun creating this episode. I really like the idea and the way the Dupe condos came out. I'd love to hear your feedback, though, and hear what you have to say. What changes you'd make, something else you'd like to see. Please let me know in the comments below. Talk to you soon.